think I'm hearing myself now. Tight. I think it was just because my mic was muted. So.
It's okay.
Alright, for sure.
You good?
Yep, I think so.
Alright, cool. No worries. Disaster averted.
Exactly. Alright, we're ready.
All good, man. Hey, have a good stream, man.
Thanks, bro.
All right, man. Peace.
Here we go. Alright, sorry everybody. Mic difficulties. Alright, what's up? It's type beat time. It is Friday, 4:05. You know who we're doing. You know what we're doing. We're gonna dive straight into the DAW, baby. But first, actually, what am I doing? Before we dive right in, I just want to thank everybody who's here for right now. Might even wait a little longer. Let the room fill up. What we at? We're at 9 viewers. Let's go. Let's go. We building numbers out here. Building numbers. All right, let me make sure I got the chat pulled up on my phone because I can't see y'all once we're in the DAW. All right, bet. So what's up, everybody? My name is Silly. I'm a DJ by producer. Super excited to unbox these sounds that I made for you guys. So here they are. This is the main track that we're gonna be looking at here. Can't wait to dive into the patch, the synth itself, and kind of show you my process. So without further ado, grab you a cup of coffee because I don't know where you're watching from, but it's really gray and muggy outside. So grab something warm, get comfy. Here we go. So as I said in my interview, if you missed it, I'll reiterate like my vibe when I think about going to do a track. I really like those atmospheric intros, those intros that give you a little window into the song, and then we build up into it, right? So, kind of creating like that staggered start. As you can see here, I'm only really gonna hit you with one sound at first, got some effects and modulation going on, and again, that's just to build anticipation, just to get you ready to ride the roller coaster. All right. So without further ado, let me play this all the way through, and I guess I'll just start from there. Let's go. Is it raining? Raining out there, Maven? Yeah. It's good though. I didn't think we were gonna get like There we go. All right. So there we have it. time to dive into the synth, I guess. So this is basically one little sound that I made. You'll get this in the pack if you download it. If you haven't already, what are you doing, bro? Get that now. Come back. Where you at? So now this synth is pretty gnarly, but the concepts that I'm using are very universal and actually really practical. So, um, within this synth itself, you're allowed to have like samplers and whatnot, different wavetables, really all different kind of like sound generators. Um, and so I went with this sampler, and that's what you're gonna want uh, in your synth to do this, to create this kind of a pad. So basically, the idea here is that you want to take like a sample of, it could be really any instrument. I've seen it been done with like a guitar string, like literally just a guitar pluck. And you're gonna want to find like a part of the sample, like I have here, where it's not too much, too much attack. You really want to create like a nice, smooth, uh, spot of the sample, and there usually is around the tail. You can see it here. I have it on a loop mode basically, and you just go through these cycles. So if I pull up my keyboard here, showing screen piano keys, let's go up a little bit. And hold on, let me actually turn off. Where is it? I can turn off the second group here. Don't need that. So I have that. Okay, cool. So just straight creating that loop of airiness, and you kind of have to crossfade it, like literally all the way. Crossfade the heck out of the sample, because otherwise you're gonna get that starting point, and we don't want that. We just want cycles. We just want it to keep on cycling. And then you're gonna want to throw on some unison to make it nice and wide, right? That's what unison's gonna do. No matter what type of unison plugin you're using, it's just gonna make everything nice and wide, which is what we want. Uh, yeah, and then when you're also creating these pads, or just like anything, pads like anything that you want to come in slowly and ramp up, you're gonna want to play with your amplitude envelope. And that's your typical ADSR: attack, decay, sustain, release. So to give it that long attack, you're gonna want to give it, drag it out, turn the knob, whatever your synth is calling for, but you basically want to turn it up to like about a second, like a long 1 second to start. And what's next? Hold on, didn't mean to close that. Okay, so then you're basically gonna want to like modulate it, like modulate the bejesus out of it, because that's what these pads are all about. It's creating that texture through modulation. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Kuya Beats knows what's up. Detune the living heck out of it. I actually didn't do too much detuning for these first two generators right here. I think I did that more in the post processing section. So if I open this up, oh, actually, no, I didn't actually. I did it all within the synth. My bad. But yeah, okay. So next to this, the effects section, and here again, this is more of a unison effect that you can get straight from Kilohertz themselves. Shout out Kilohertz for Faceplant. And here is where I'm really detuning it. I mean, I got it at like 25%, spread up 50%. So this is where it's getting a lot of that width from. and just filtering it, because oftentimes when you're doing sound design, you can kind of create these harsh frequencies that nobody really wants to hear, right? You don't want to hurt anybody's ears today. So we just cut out a lot of that high end. Another thing to think about when you're using distortion like I am here, I have the mix turned up all the way, but my parameters are like so scarce. I mean, look at this. I have like nothing really going on because again, if I were to fully drive this, it would get too crunchy, and that's not what we want for a pad. You want to give it a little bit of grit, but not too much. So there you have pretty much an overview of the synth. Now I mainly want to talk about like using it, right? Because we can get any uh, preset pad, but how do you use it? So how we're gonna use it is, well, like you heard in my intro here, we use it when you want to finally bring your listener to that moment of where the flower blossoms and it opens up. So let's go back real quick and I'll show you. So right now I don't even know if I have wider on this synth. Nope, just a filter, I think. Yeah, just a filter. So talking about these other synths here, which I do plan to make another pad, or not pad pack, but another sound pack with, because these are very underused. I feel like, nice, pretty pluck bass. You hear it all the time, but sometimes not so often. But it's really important to try and not hit your listener with all your sounds at once. So that's why we do the high pass filter here to really kind of cut it out and then hit you with the full sound. Start out nice and low. So yeah, what else did I want to talk about here? I wrote notes, of course. Yeah, I guess getting back to the pads themselves reminds me of a good morning. I like that. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad it does. So yeah, like I feel like pads have that ability though, where it's filling out the spectrum and it's providing you that depth, right? Like I mean, if I just muted these and gave you just an arc the whole way through with some white noise here, which I'll talk about in a second. I mean, it's so stagnant. It almost hurts my soul. Does that lead? But with it, see, it's the garden, man. It's what we are planting the seeds with. But yeah, all right. So time to talk about like some atmospheric effects, all pads aside, uh, to create like tension and more of that anticipation that I was thinking about or talking about. Use white noise, use risers like to the best of your ability. I mean, as much as you can, because without these risers here, it would be such a lame build up, right? I mean, here, let me mute these. Just how lame I can show you. See, now we'll bring them back in and just look at how like much energy this gives. to send me a link on what that is, boss. I'm a little lost on what that means, but I'm honored. I'm honored. All right. Let me put y'all on to this crazy free plugin that I just recently found. Where is it? I have wider here, but I want to know where it's at. Oh, it's on the white noise itself. Here we go. Yep, so this plugin's by Infected Mushroom and it's called Wider. And as you can see here, I have this sound. I mean, you can basically think of it as like an advanced, quote unquote, unison mode, right? But it's gonna give you more stereo width. It's actually more of like a stereo imager, I guess, than in that case. But just listen to what it does to my white noise. So here, I won't do it. Well, actually, I'll do it without. Take this off. There's some energy there, but check it out with, and I'm modulating it, mind you. So I'm telling it to start in the middle, stay mono at first, and then as the white noise rises, open it up to create more movement through it. So it's not just stagnant white noise. Look at that. Look at that. Boom. Bubba bam. So much more there. So much more movement. And that's key, honestly, in any beat that you're trying to make. Like what's the music without the movement, right? If there's no rhythm. Let's clean this up a little bit and get rid of that. Ooh, I guess I can talk about this the drop synth itself, which was actually pretty fun to make. I made it a while ago. Oops. But it was really cool because I just recorded my friend Demetrius. He had this, he was just like whistling one day, but it sounded very robotic. It was so crazy. And so I was like, all right, I'm recording that and I'm gonna see what I can do with that. And this is what we got out of it. I don't know if I can really dive into how to make tables because I'm still learning and it's honestly a little challenging, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Oh shit. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse on the stream. So there we have it. But you know, it's all about knowing your synth and familiarizing yourself with synthesizers is pretty easy. I don't want to, I hate using that word easy because some things come easier to some people than others. But once you figure out the synth you're using signal flow, all the doors become like wide open. And so basically how Serum works is you have your oscillators right here, and these are what's making the sound. Got my filter section, got my envelope section, and my LFOs. And this is what's making the wobble. This is why these are important, is because if can I bypass it? I can. Bypass all destinations, then we just get long system, right? Sort of. I think it's also my envelope that's modulating a couple things. So, yeah, that's why. But, yeah. What else? What else? Go back here. So we talked about the plucks a little bit. We talked about the pads. What else did I want to talk about? Yeah, I really wanted to talk about also using builds, like to, create transitions, because without the transition or without the build and I just hit you with a drop, you'd be like, oh, this is a little sudden, right? So I wish I could just solo this section. So obviously I'm modulating the heck out of this sequencer. I think that's what they call it inside a Serum, but it's basically like just a riser, right? At the end of the day, all your DAWs are gonna come preset with certain risers, and like I think this one's also stock in Reason. So there's usually a search bar for preset sounds within your DAW. Just search riser and see what comes up, because that's pretty much what I did with this one, and I use it in like all my songs. It's a pretty standard riser that you use the mod wheel to modulate the rate, and that's what's going to create tension, which is a must, a must. So there's that combined with this riser. And it's also good to pan them. I don't know if you're listening on a laptop or headphones out there, but if you can hear it in headphones, you can tell that one is on the left, one's on the right, just so they're, spacious, more spacious. You know, I really want to parallel compress this drum track because the drums just aren't hitting enough for me, fam. They're not hitting enough for me. But yeah, I guess since I'm talking about builds, I can talk about breaks, right? Because obviously we could keep listening to this drop on repeat, but then it would just get boring. So that's going on. Alright, there we go. I think my computer is lagging a little bit. Sorry, stream. Go back over here. So, as you heard, I've got, and you can see here that I've got that same white noise from earlier, but I reversed it to create this down lifter, if you will, instead of an uplifter type of sound. And it's a really good way to signify to your listener without, having to take away any sounds immediately, that the drop is finishing or a next section is coming. And going back into the pads gets back to what I was talking about on the live interview about using silence, because obviously using a pad isn't complete silence, which you can very well do. I also really like doing that, but basically taking away that base and taking away that foundation and creating nice, like, airy, vibey kind of atmosphere by hitting you with just the pads now. What else am I soloing? Okay. So I'll solo this section. Zoom back out here. Alright, for sure. So, where was I? Sorry, my computer lagged out, and now I'm like, where, where were we? Oh, yes, transitions. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I put the drums back in? Because I kind of want to finish this beat while you guys are here. I kind of have been sitting on it for a while for the stream, and there seems like I could make some changes here and there. What do you guys think? Hit me chat, hit me chat. Should we throw the drums back in there, or should we just let it close out all open? All right, let's do it. I kind of want to, like, as you can see here, I kind of got lazy with the drums and I didn't program them myself, but whatever. Hate on me all you want, but we're gonna bring the drum loop back in. Do this here maybe. Alright, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, here actually. We'll skip 4 bars and then we'll bring it. Do a nice little fade in here so that way it's not super sudden. And alright, what do you guys think of this? Fucking bots, bro. Fucking bots. Death check. Alright, computer. Sorry. So let's add another drum here. Actually, speaking of drums, I totally forgot to speak on my build-up drums. So why don't I do that, huh? So, as I said, I'm down for drums. Alright, cool. So, I'm gonna go back up here to my Kong. I like, I prefer to use MPC synthesized kind of drums in my sequencer just because visually it makes more sense to me. Some people I know like using this type of layout for the redrum where it's like more channel kind of based and you put your pattern in on the squares down below. But call me an old head, if you will, and we're gonna go with this MPC synthesizer. And yeah, so let's open up this MIDI. So it can be kind of hard when you draw in your drums. So I myself, I'm trying to get better at playing them live on my actual MIDI MPC keyboard combo. But if you're gonna draw them in, it's important to remember that for your build-up or for anything, any build up kind of drums. You want to create a pattern that people can almost clap along to, right? Because at some point your tracks are going to have to be played live, and if you're just giving people a four on the floor clap, they can clap along to that, but it doesn't have that much energy, right? So I guess I'll just play these out. You can hear what they are. And that's another thing too, is I feel like, depending on your style preference, your buildups are going to be longer or shorter. I've come to realize that a shorter buildup, I think I'm only using 8 bars here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, an 8 bar build is works pretty well. I mean, a 16 bar build up you can do, but if you're gonna have to play it live at some point, it's all personal preference, right? At the end of the day, maybe you are trying to build up a whole lot of tension before your big drop comes in, so go ahead and use that 16 bars, but pardon me. I hear a lot of people mainly using a good 8 bars. I will try to count it out and see what's more popular. And so far, I've reached that an 8 bar build is um, the most standard. Another thing that you can do to your drums too, especially on the build-up, is automate the volume of them, right? I mean, I've got so many volume automations going on here, and that's because I personally like when a sound fades in. Unless it's hitting on the one, then I'm like, ah, that's kind of jarring, so let me fade this in. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have going on here. And if you can in your drum synthesizer, I highly recommend automating certain drums to come in first or last, however you want to organize it. But yeah, that's all this clip is doing. It's just telling the volume to come up. Finally. Okay. Computer's starting to come back now. So I apologize in advance if it's lagging or if I'm lagging. I tried to shut everything off and make sure that it's just my dog going and the stream. But anyways, Kuya Beats asks, what about other transitional drum sounds? I definitely love using toms a lot. Toms are another good way to create a nice drum roll without having to utilize a kick, and give you that whole bottom end punch. I didn't use any in this track. I could have, but I didn't. Sorry. Um, Let me see. Oh, also, if you're wondering why there's just this bar here, gap of the last chord here that's about to play, that's because typically I would like to leave room, like, what we were saying earlier, leave that space, and having the drums fade out right before that next bar is one of the most popular, and for a reason, because it works so well uh, to really emphasize that bass, that sub bass when it comes in. And also, it gives your vocalists, if you are working with a vocalist, obviously, room to do like a vocal chant, if you will, or emphasize the last phrase of that bar or of that verse of that hook, whatever's gonna go right before that drop. And it just emphasizes the energy like a lot more. That's why I kind of wish I put a vocal track in here, but I don't have too many that are not super generic at least. Download all those free ones and I'm like, man, I need some more vocalists to come up with original content. So hit your boy. Good question from Kuya Beats. Do you like using a kick or a 808 or both? Uh, Typically both. I think right here I'm basically using the the, the drum the drum loop here, but I did make this custom 808 sub bass in Serum because Serum has a nice little sub oscillator. So I think that's all I'm using on it. Let me see here. And that's another thing that I like to do too is make my own 808s, and that's because like you can really just customize what you want for that song. Like I can make a much warmer 808 out of a synth than I can from a sound pack, if you will, or something. Um, so yeah, as you can see here, this is Serum sub oscillator, and you don't even need a sub oscillator to do this. Like if I turn this off, this is actually pretty low. And it's pretty much just a sine wave, no harmonics, not doing anything too crazy. Oh, that's too high. That's too high. Nice, deep, dirty sub. Ouch. Actually kind of hurting my ear with these. And my computer's freezing again. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. I'm sorry. I know your computers are probably being hit with like just sub information. But yeah, another thing I like to do, and I'll be happy to show it once this computer catches up with me. Yes, give me my mouse back. But yeah, before I bring the kick in, sometimes I do definitely like to wait like a good bar or two. Oh, why did I go there? Let's go back to song. So sometimes I'll do this, or here, let me unmute this, and I'll actually wait like a good bar or two just to make like trick people and be like, oh, you thought I was gonna drop it, but I didn't. And I usually like to hold off like four bars, depending on if I let this be super open. It really is very situational, but here, watch. Let me go ahead and fade this out. 4 bars. Play. So that actually probably would have sounded better with the sub in it. So fake drop, bring the sub in, and then so yeah, and I hope everybody's also kind of paying attention to how different these sounds can be and the results that they can produce. I mean, I have this long sustain kind of washed out pad combined with this fast one sound. And they're both electronic, I would say, in nature, but their textures are very different. And to have it feels melodic. So I wish I could talk about how to make a riser, but I'm still learning that stuff too, you know. So we're all learning. We're all learning here. Close that up. What else is there that I could talk about? I mean, I really could dive into this effects chain. So let's go ahead. So as I was saying, to make like a nice warm 808 sub, if you're a hip hop producer or whatever genre you really are getting into, everybody loves that bass, right? That nice warm sub. And this is a way that you could do it. So if you open up a synthesizer, you are basically going to want to set your oscillators. Like here, let me take out the sub again. And if I just did it with one oscillator, that's really all you need. You're just going to pitch down your sine waves so that way, no matter what, you're going to get a pretty low tone, which is perfect for a sub. Perfect. Absolutely perfect for a sub. So I don't think I have any. Oh, I do. So inside the synth itself, sometimes you can have an effects like chain. And here I'm just giving it some distortion to give it some grit, give it some more tonality, if you will. And I'm also kind of EQ boosting it just because I wanted it to be a really, really heavy sub. But outside of the synth, I'm pretty much doing the same thing, just distorting the F out of the sub, right? Because everybody loves a good distorted 808. So that's all this pulverizer is. It's just a compressor and distortion unit, and then giving it some more bottom end with this Audiomatic here because obviously, you know, we're talking about subs. We don't want any of that high end in here, and that's why I think up here I have an EQ where I'm actually telling it that I don't want anything. Oh, well, yeah, see, I'm actually cutting it because it was actually too strong of a sub. But basically, this is where you want your 808 to really hit. So if I did high pass it, oh, oops, actually, I want to low pass it, excuse me, and I solo this, we're not going to get any of that high to mid frequency, which is perfect. Perfect. Hitting right there in that 80 hertz sub level. Boom, boom, boom. So what else? What's down here? Ah, here's another one, another free plugin that I can put y'all up on game 2 is this saturation knob by Softtube. Dude, if you're trying to if you got an 808 and you want to make it more gritty, this guy is your like best friend, honestly. It's super super clutch. You can tell it. It's got 3 modes here. You can tell it to keep the high frequencies, like saturate that part. You can saturate everything as a whole. That's what neutral means here, depending on the sound that you're using it for. But if you're gonna be saturating an 808 or a bass, you're definitely gonna want it on keep low. And I always kind of keep it between the 0.5 and 2 range because then it gets really crunchy, like really, really crunchy. So let me see if I can turn that up so you guys can hear it. Soloing this still right. Yeah, see, boom. And if you're not listening in on headphones or on some sort of monitors, I greatly apologize because you probably didn't hear too much of it or feel it at least. Maybe you did when I cranked it all the way up and I gave it some more like harmonic overtones. But, you know, for most subs, you really don't want too many harmonics. I mean, you can. It is important though too if you're listening on like a phone, because then our ear is smart enough to pick up that there's a low frequency there, but obviously you're not gonna feel it. And then I have a limiter just to cap it all off because otherwise it would probably be far too loud and it would be clipping even harder than it already is. Well, it's actually not clipping anymore because I EQ'd it. So yeah, there you have it. That's how you can make your subs fat, which is what everybody wants, right? Nobody likes a weak sub. Make sure I unsolo that real quick. Okay, what else? What else do I have in my notes here? Yeah, the B sections actually. Let's talk about some B sections, shall we? So obviously over here we have my B section, and if I pull up this other beat that I'm working on, I can show you better the techniques that I like to use. Like in my B sections, oftentimes I'll even like reverse this MIDI clip maybe even, and it creates a more call and response like feel to the track without relying too much call and response in the main melody, which I feel like is what a lot of people do. They think that they go as far with call and response just staying in the melody, and it's like, no dude, have your sections be like talking to each other in a sense. So if I just reverse even this MIDI clip here, these MIDI clips, you create variation, which is what we want. Feel how different the vibe is now that I just reverse these things, and reversing things is always fun. Typically reverse cymbals and audio. Reversing audio is a lot of fun. I like reversing kicks a lot too, because it kind of gives the listener or not the listener, but it gives the kick some more umph before you actually get hit with the kick. So that's always fun too. But it's important to have that call and response throughout your track, whether you're putting it in your melody or whether you're putting it in sections. You obviously don't want to Command C, Command V, or Control C, Control V if you're on Windows, like the whole song. So reverse things, get experimental and reverse. I love reversing pianos a lot. That's another good way to create some variation. Message deleted. Oh. Don't delete your messages, man. We like reading the chat out here. So, yes, actually I do like the way that this is reversed. Let's hear it from the drop now. So, yeah, see, reversing things gives you a whole lot of variation without having to do a whole lot of work, which is always just chef's kiss, you know what I mean? Bots got a dib, no cap. Yeah, for real. We ain't got no space for bots in this chat room, in this stream. Alright, what is next? I feel like we need some sort of synth fill, like somewhere within the drop, possibly. For sure. Why not? Let's do it. So we're gonna go custom bass patches. Actually, I don't really want to ruin the vibe of the song though. I like to drop the way it is, actually. I changed my mind. Changed my mind. Am I automating the master volume? No, let's do that. So, another thing I like to do a lot is automate the master volume during my build, because then we're pretty much creating more tension by making everything real quiet. Well, not real quiet, but quieter than our listener is used to, and then we're hitting them with more loudness for the drop. So let me make sure I'm only going down like 2 or 3 dB. And this is what we get now. Here, I'll play it from here, actually. Play it from the So that felt like pretty nice actually. So we're gonna keep that up in the beat. Little volume animation on the master. What else? I mean, should we just like finish this beat because it's almost done? Can you believe that, guys? It's almost done, honestly. We'll just have to build a second drop or a second build. And I could copy and paste this over. Could not. Decisions. What else does it need? Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think this needs? What do you guys think this needs? Catching up on the chat. Nice. Bev check real quick. Sorry. I'm like monitoring myself in the headphones and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. Cowbell? More cowbell. wavy, wavy indeed.
Hey! 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 Hey!
Mm,
Hey!
Hey.
oh, that might be kind of nice. Yeah, which hay should I use? The gunshot into the damn sun. Yes. Actually, I don't have the damn sun, but I probably have some gunshots, honestly.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
Oh man, I know I had some like. Actually, I guess I could pitch it upward. Let's see what happens if I pitch it upward. So I'll put it on this bar here. Select tool window. We're going to pitch this up 7, maybe? Maybe not a whole octave, but just a 7. Oof, loud. Turn this off. Maybe we'll go up the whole octave. Make it nice and high pitched. Apply. It won't let me go up the whole octave because it's a sample. Makes sense. I guess I could throw it in the sampler real quick. But maybe we'll actually just cut it. No, not copy. I wanted to cut. There we go. Alright. Gunshots in the chat. Let's do it. Go here. Gunshots. Might be in my Lex Luger kit that I snagged from the Wire Media old hard drives. Let me see. Effects. There we go. That could be one. That is another thing that I like to do actually too. I like to
This
throw
is an
in
emergency.
weird
This
little
is an
samples
emergency.
here. More so, not so much vocals. I do like to use vocals and play around with vocals, but I also really enjoy using like what's the word I'm looking for? I guess you could call it like foley. I've heard it called foley before, where it's just like real world recordings, like speech, like coffee shop type of like ambient chatter in the background. I think I actually have the perfect instrument for that. It's called Labs by Spitfire Audio. That's what it is. So where is that? Here we go. This is free, by the way. Anybody out there looking for some new synths, new toys to play with, highly recommend Labs by Spitfire Audio. They've got some really cool free sounds. Like I downloaded Frozen Strings because I'm very much a string guy. I like the cellos and violins. They just have such nice tones. Modular pianos. No, where is it? London Atmos. Yes. So we'll choose this. And we'll load this up. And we'll just see. So what if for my intro, my theme, or maybe even over here too in the break. Because I'm all about ambiance. I'm really, really big on textures and random samples that just create that ambiance, such as this. Here, maybe we'll keep it nice and quiet. I might have to scoot some of the beat over for this too. It might sound a little weird. Actually, no, here we'll just play with the modulation a little more on the filter. to create space for. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Turn it up a little more. But that was nice, was it not? Was it not? Kind of makes you feel like you got headphones on and you're on like a bus or whatever. You know, you better put your headphones on, the song's starting, and you're just like, ah, yeah, I'm about to tune out from reality real quick. Yes, I put that in the intro here. Create some more atmosphere. There you are. Turn the channel down to about like -4 dB, just so it's not too in the forefront, because it's all supposed to be background. Probably fade it. Maybe not right there actually, because that's where the pads come in. So maybe we'll do it like here. It's not a bad little growl, actually. It's a little deep house type-ish sound. Here actually, I do have some Japanese vocal samples. Japanese vocals. Phrases. I feel like that's what this song needs, you know. It does need some vocals, but... that actually might be nice right before the drop. So we'll drop that guy there for now. But what else should I have in here? Hmm. Let me see if I can turn this up. Play from the build. Put some reverb and compress the vocal because she's a little quiet. So let's go ahead and go effects. And where's my compressor? OTT, baby. This is another free one. That's kind of a must-have for any genre of music, really. Expert Records, OTT, multi-band compressor. If you don't have a multi-compressor in your arsenal of toys, get one, you feel me? Because this thing is so powerful. It will literally compress the lows of your sound, the mids, and the highs, rather, like individually, rather than just taking your whole picture and compressing all of it. You can literally pick what you want to compress. So pretty big game changer. I know Ableton has one stock, which I was very jealous of, but at the end of the day, it's a free plugin, so you don't need Ableton. Very nice. We'll actually probably cut out that low. Nice. We'll go upward compression a little bit. I bet. Nice. There we go. So yeah, alright, we'll play it one more time through. Sorry if I've kind of faded into darkness. My my lamp actually went out like last night, so I gotta go get a new light bulb. I do have another lamp, but it's back there real quick. And yeah, it's okay. Producing in the dark. That's something I do often, maybe too often, but I get my best ideas from that. So, all right, from the top with the additions and all. there you have it. We have our melodic dubstep type beat, atmospheric pads type beat. If you guys haven't downloaded the sound pack already off of adp.fm, do it, do it, do it. You're gonna want to go to Remix Your Life, Arts and Cultures. That'll take you to adp.fm, and you can find our sound library there. Go get it to be featured on next week's episode where I listen to you guys' creations. I'm like super hyped to see what you guys come up with. I hope you guys learn something new, if not something new, a different way to do something maybe. But that's about it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, see you next week. All right.